Can you try your video?
Yes.
It's 9 a.m. Shall we start the webinar and then start accepting people?
We only miss Martina. She's joining.
Just let everybody know the webinar started.
Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the event. I see more people are joining us.
Hello.
Okay, let's get started. So I would like for us to start off with a bit of a reflection. I recently came across a thought-provoking question on social media, and I would like to pose that question here from a gender and education lens. Who are girls uninterrupted? If nothing stood in the way of girls achieving success, what would their lives look like? Menstruation is not an interruption, rather how it is being interpreted and viewed is causing interruption. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Crystal Ikani Musa, and I am the Advocacy and Public Policy Specialist at the Global Partnership for Education. The Global Partnership for Education is the world's only partnership and fund focused on exclusively bringing quality education to children in lower income countries. GPE mobilizes partnerships and invests in transforming education systems in 77 lower income countries so that every girl and boy can get a quality education and unlock their full potential. GPE supports partner countries to drive transformation at scale, to get the most vulnerable girls and boys in school, improve teaching and learning, and build resilient education systems capable of withstanding shocks and adapting to new challenges. When discussing education and access, you cannot omit gender and how, in many contexts, it determines who receives an education and who doesn't. Around the world, there are 129 million girls out of school, including 32 million of primary school age, 30 million of lower secondary school age, and 67 million of upper secondary school age. COVID-19 further exacerbated the education crisis, with millions of girls at risk of never returning to school. While many countries have made progress on access and parity, this alone is not enough to make progress on gender inequalities in education. Education shows impediments are inside and outside the education system, including social norms. This includes child marriage, teenage pregnancy, child domestic work, sexual abuse, exploitation, violence, and menstrual hygiene. GPE is committed to gender equality and to ensure all girls and boys enjoy equal education opportunities. We harness the collective power of the partnership to secure political and financial support for gender-responsive education systems. Recognizing the impact gender has on the ability to become educated is the reason gender equality is an advocacy priority for GPE. As a priority, we hardwire gender across everything we do to spotlight education as a key enabler of gender equality, because gender equality means girls have an equal opportunity to learn. Hardwiring gender equality means strengthening the role of the education system in achieving broader goals on gender equality in society, such as eliminating harmful social norms against girls and child marriage. GPE's advocacy on gender equality includes working with youth leaders from 22 partner countries and 6 donor countries who bring gender to the forefront by addressing cross-cutting issues such as menstrual hygiene and child marriage. Today, you will hear from 2 of them, Bokai Hoke and Tendai Kuyelese. Menstrual hygiene is more than a topic. It is a part of every woman and girl's life. Lack of information about menstrual hygiene, school infrastructure, and wash facilities to support girls menstruating affects girls' social, economic, and academic well-being. This year's International Menstrual Hygiene Day is an opportunity to shine a spotlight on its interlinkages with education and child marriage. We are creating a space for an intergenerational dialogue to explore some of the issues, actions, and solutions young people and organizations do to keep menstruating girls learning, particularly this space void of shame, stigma, and reproach about something very natural that somehow makes it unnatural for a girl to be educated. So I would like to welcome you, and I hope you enjoyed today's discussion. I will hand it over to our partner, Girls Not Brides, Fatu and Dear.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Crystal. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are joining us from. Welcome. My name is Fatu Gendir. I'm the Senior Regional Advocacy and Engagement Officer for Girls Not Bride, the global partnership to end child marriage. Aligned to the Menstrual Hygiene Day theme this year, and in collaboration with GPE, we stand with our youth leaders and all girls and women to work towards a world where menstruation is managed with dignity and respect in all settings. Standalone interventions are not effective for ending child marriage, and menstrual discrimination needs to be included as one of the key drivers of child marriage. From this perspective, a holistic approach and united response are essential to combat the menstrual discriminatory perception and practice for achieving the overarching goal of gender equality. At Girls Not Bright, we believe in the power of collective action. A vibrant partnership working together to catalyze connection, action, and impact. Today, we reiterate this belief along with our partners and youth leaders, Rachel, Martina, Mercy, Marta. The Menstrual Hygiene Day this year is an opportunity for Girls Not Bright to leverage our collective efforts and to spotlight education as a key enabler to achieve goals of other sectors. Welcome again to everyone. I hand it over to Crystal to start our discussion with our youth leaders. Over to you, Crystal, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Fatu. We appreciate hearing from you and Girls Not Brides. We're going to jump into our first discussion. We're going to have a discussion led by one of the youth leaders who's here as a panelist. Rachel, I would like to hand it over to you to begin discussion one.
Thank you very much, Crystal. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rachel Eden, Youth Leader, Girls Not Bright, Nigeria. And joining me as panelists for this section
Rachel, I'm sorry to stop you. We need to get your camera going. Is that okay?
Okay. Can you see me now?
Yes, we can see you. Thank you.
All right. So I'm Rachel, Youth Leader, Girls Not Bright, Nigeria. And joining me as panelists for this section are Volti, Mercy, and Toby. Volti, Joye, can you say hi? Hi, Volti, are you with us?
Hi.
All right,
Yeah,
Mercy.
thank you.
All right, Mercy, can you introduce yourself? You're with us. Mercy, can you hear me? Okay, I guess Mercy will come back. Subi, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, thank you very much. Mercy, are you back, just to confirm? Okay, please, Mercy, can you let us know when you're ready to talk? So we are going to be heading straight to the panel discussion. And just to remind our panelists that they have 2 minutes for their conversation, so please try to keep to time. So this year's global theme for Menstrual Hygiene Day is making menstruation a normal fact of life by 2030. Start with you, Volti. How does your work in Cambodia contribute to this goal?
Thank you so much, Rachel, for the questions. I believe right now we are doing significant work that involves stakeholder and especially Ministry of Education in Cambodia. We are trying to produce like short film that the purpose of this short film is that we wanting to send a message to the girl to normalize the experience and help them to relate more, especially when first prepare for their menstruations for the first period. The truth and the reality is that girls in Cambodia in their 12 and 13 years old, they're still scared and they still not know how it is like or should be like, or what they have to do or have to prepare for their first period. So that's one thing in Green Lady Cambodia that we are currently doing for the menstrual hygiene, to celebrate menstrual hygiene day as well.
All right, thank you very much.
So I'm just gonna jump in right quick. Panelists, can you turn on your cameras when you're speaking? We do want to see you.
Yeah, sorry, the camera say that I could not start it. There's probably
Try it again. I think we fixed it.
Yay.
Perfect. We see you guys. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much, both. Yeah, amazing work you do over there in Cambodia. Mercy, are you back with us? Hello, Mercy. Okay, since Mercy is going to join us very soon. So, Toby, your work is more at the global level. Can you tell us how your work is achieving this year's theme?
Yes, sure. Thank you so much for having me. As Rachel mentioned, my name is Tubi Retta, and I'm the Director of International Programs for the Girls Opportunity Alliance at the Obama Foundation. I'm so excited to be a part of this conversation. Already learning so much. Voti, thanks for your comments. It's an honor to be in this conversation with you all. So globally, I think, as we know, the challenges around menstruation affect girls' education in a number of different ways, from lack of access to affordable and quality sanitary products, to inadequate spaces and infrastructure in schools and homes, to the lack of information and stigma and social taboos around menstruation. All of these issues contribute to girls missing days from school, and in some cases dropping out altogether, as we know. To give you just a little bit of context, there's a study from UNESCO that found that 1 in 10 girls in sub-Saharan Africa miss school while they're on their period. Another study in India found that as many as 1 in 5 girls drop out of school altogether after they get their period. So challenges around menstruation are an incredibly huge barrier to girls' education. At the Girls Opportunity Alliance, we're kind of helping to solve this issue by supporting these incredible grassroots organizations around the world that are helping to alleviate these barriers for girls. They are not only helping to alleviate barriers around menstruation, but around gender-based violence, child marriage, and a number of other issues that keep girls out of school. But these organizations, we know, are best placed to support girls because they have already developed trust with girls and their communities and family members, and are really best positioned to support girls and alleviate some of these barriers. To give you an example of what some of these organizations are doing, they're providing girls with comprehensive sexual and reproductive health education, including education around menstruation. They're helping girls get access to pads and sanitary materials. They're improving school infrastructure, and in some cases running their own schools that have proper infrastructure for girls to be able to menstruate safely. And then most importantly, they're not only providing information to girls, but they're also providing information to their parents, family members, boys, and other community members to really break down some of those social stigmas that exist around menstruation. So we've been really, really proud to support these organizations, and we really see it as a key way to helping to solve this issue. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you very much, Toby. Mercy, are you back with us? Okay, Mercy is back with us. Thank you very much. So Mercy, could you share with us how your work in Uganda helps to make menstruation a normal fact of life?
All right. Hello, everyone. I hope I'm audible enough and everyone is hearing me.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. My name is Ainomgisha Masinkakara. I work with Raising Teenagers Uganda. Raising Teenagers Uganda is an organization that works to keep girls in school as a way of ending child marriage and teenage pregnancy. At Raising Teenagers Uganda, but the works we are doing in Uganda, Raising Teenagers Uganda is carrying out menstrual hygiene management and education to girls and community, where we go to the communities, we educate community leaders, parents, teachers, school-going children on menstrual hygiene management. We educate parents on the benefits of keeping girls in schools and completing education as a way of ending child marriage and teenage pregnancy. We also sensitize the community about the ways on how to keep hygiene while menstruating. We also break the stigma, stereotypes, and beliefs that is associated with menstruation. For example, in some communities, they believe when a girl gets her first period, she is ready for marriage, of which is not the case. We also train young girls and women on making reusable sanitary pads. For example, we have training still going on in Nachi Valley refugee settlements, where we've already trained so far 300 refugee girls on how to make menstrual pads, reusable sanitary pads, for them to manage their menstruation properly, and also for sustainability and economic empowerment, whereby they not only make pads for themselves, but they make extra, which are sold to the community, and from the money gotten, they are able to buy their own basic needs. We are at Raising Teenagers, we always carry out hiking events, annual hiking events, which is aimed at breaking stigma around menstruation. And this year we are having the hiking event in July from 7th to 9th July, and we are going to Sorrow. So we are the aim of the hike is to break stigma around menstruation, to go and support girls in the area with menstrual hygiene products so that they can menstruate with dignity, to also sensitize and create awareness on menstrual hygiene and menstrual management. And for this year, it's next month, by the way, in July, we are calling all stakeholders, people on the call, to come and join us and make a difference in the lives of girls in Chigezi sub-region and Sorrow district. So we call upon everyone to support us with pads, with, it can be even knickers, those menstrual pads and materials. They can be knickers. You can support us by joining us, by the way, to hike. You are also welcome to join us and hike. You can support us with fuel, finances, anything to make a difference in the girls and lives of women and young girls in Sorrow. Thank you. Back to you, Rachel.
Thank you very much, Mercy. I must say, amazing work you do over there. You do really amazing work, and I hope anyone on this call can actually reach out to you and support you for your project coming up in July. So many schools lack sanitary infrastructure, such as private toilet with running waters to support girls to manage menstruation. How do you see this affecting girls and their education, and what can be done to change this? We'll start with you, Tube.
Sure, thank you, Rachel. So the lack of adequate sanitation infrastructure in schools is a huge challenge for girls. As I mentioned earlier, it's one of the reasons girls do not come to school while they're on their period, or why they end up dropping out altogether once they begin to menstruate. And we know that schools are such critical spaces for girls and can be central spaces for them to be able to access everything from products to adequate facilities to education around menstruation. But we also know that this is often not the case. So what do we need to do? We need to make sure that governments and communities are investing in adequate school infrastructure to reduce some of these barriers for girls. And not only do we need to focus on proper and adequate and safe school infrastructure, And what that means is toilets for girls and to be able to menstruate in private. So bathrooms that actually have locks and not are sort of in open spaces. These sort of adequate and safe spaces for girls enables girls to be able to come to school while they're on their periods. And not only do we need this sort of infrastructure, but we need multi-pronged approaches to support girls once they begin to menstruate. And again, this means that they need education around menstrual health and hygiene management, not just for girls, but for boys, for families, and all community members as part of comprehensive sexual and reproductive health education in schools. And we also need educational campaigns to make sure that everyone is aware of what happens when a girl menstruates and what her needs are, and also to help reduce, again, some of those social stigmas and taboos that exist around menstruation. So it's really, really important to tackle this issue from a number of different angles. Of course, school infrastructure is really, really important, but there are also a number of other approaches that we can implement to make sure girls have what they need. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you very much, Subi. So over to you, Mercy. Hello, Mercy. Over to you.
Hi, Rachel.
Should I repeat the question again?
Yes.
Okay. Many schools lack sanitation infrastructure, such as private toilets with running water to support girls to manage menstruation. How do you see this affecting girls and their education, and what can be done to change this?
All right. Thank you so much, Rachel. I see this leading to high level of school dropouts because if a girl is not safe at school during her menstruation, she will feel she's safe at home. And this will lead her to miss out on school for those 7 or 3 weeks, 3 days when she's menstruating, and this will affect her education. And the moment the girl is out of school, it will automatically, in most of the times, lead to child marriage and teenage pregnancy. So I call upon the government, the development organization, CSOs, stakeholders, well-wishers, everyone to prioritize the construction of I'll call it gender toilets, because in most cases in the schools we visit, you find teachers, students, both boys and girls are sharing one toilet. So in this case, I call upon the government, stakeholders, everyone to prioritize the construction of these infrastructures whereby the girls can have their own toilets, the boys their own toilets, and the teachers their own toilets. I also call upon well-wishers and CSOs to provide water tanks in schools, which this will help both boys and girls to get clean water for drinking and girls to get water to clean up during their menstruation. I also call upon the schools themselves to always budget for these extra pads and give senior women teacher, in that when you're at school and the period comes as an emergency, a girl or anyone can be able to just match to the senior woman teacher and be able to get pads with ease. Thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you very much, Mercy. So can we hear from you, Voti?
Yes, and I believe that this problem is, how would I say, a bit complicated because it have related. If we see in the reality, it's not only the toilet and the water, but have linking to so many other, let's say that holistic way of approaching this. And even that there are school in Cambodia that have toilets, but then the toilet is so small, and then the girl needed to be more clean and like a bit more spacious for them to change their pads and clean water for them to feel safe to wash. And that's not happen and proper toilet, proper water, even that the school have water, is not circulated all in the school in the province in Cambodia. We're still lacking a lot, and as Mercy say that I believe that this should be prioritized, and once that the government do not prioritize the issue yet, it seems like the finance is also lacking, and we will keep asking more for the NGO and other stakeholders to help with building the facility. And I also agree that without the water and without all this facility, it's only even increase in girls dropping out of schools, and with all other excuses like the school is far. And then when they first menstruate, meaning that they are ready for marriage and kids. And in the past in Cambodia, most of the women, most of the girls, their first period is at 18. And they will have like a big celebration at home just to tell the community that the daughter in one family is ready for marriage. So people can, observe and look forward to that. But now girls, they first period is at 12 or 13. And in one province in Ratanakiri in Cambodia, which is the farthest north, the girl already like inherit that culture thoughts or the norm, or say the tradition, that when they hit their first period, which is like 13, they already think about marriage, they already think about family, they already think about having kids. So going to school is like, and just like an option. It's not as important as how will my pregnancy complicated, will my family who I'm going to marry. So it's already planned it in their thoughts. And all of this, as I see it, linking to one another. And when we mention one issue or one problem, it seems to always like going to all other issue like a spider web. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Volti. Can you hear me?
Rachel.
All right, thank you very much, panelists, for this very, very insightful discussion. I believe I've all learned a lot moving forward in the menstrual hygiene space and education space. So I'll be handing over back to Crystal.
Thank you
very much. I'm going to be handing it over to Fatu from Girls Not Brides. We have a poll that we would like to engage the audience with. Fatu, are you ready to have the poll running?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Crystal. Just to introduce the poll, we put together 3 questions related to girls who miss school because of menstruations. The second question is related to the menstrual hygiene management and access to product, and the third one, age of marriage. So the poll is launched. You are kindly requested to choose the appropriate answer. All the agents can participate to the poll. Thank you so much. 34% participate. Can you please choose an answer from the poll for the 3 questions? The number of girls in Africa who miss school because of their period.
I see we're getting some results in, but I was
Yeah.
actually very shocked to see the correct answers to some of these questions. So I'm looking forward to seeing what everyone's thoughts are. What do you think about each question? It was quite interesting to
Yes.
know the real answers. I'm sure the education experts who are in the audience probably know the answers to quite a few of these. I won't tell you not to use your expertise, but it'll be good to know what everyone is thinking.
Yes. Particularly for question 2 and 3.
Okay, 66% of the audience has participated. Let's get a few more in.
%, maybe 1 minute to go.
Yeah, I think one more
Question
minute. And then we
number
can share the
3.
results.
What percentage of girls get married before age of 15 in the least developed countries?
Okay, the poll has ended. Atu, you can share the results.
Yes. For the first question, the right answer is A. We have a good percentage, 73%. For the second question, the answer is B. We have 27% is D. 23% have the right answer. And for the last question, it is C. We only have 50% having the right answer. 12% of girls get married before age of 15 in least developed countries based on statistics from World Visions. We can say that we have a good understanding of girls who lack access to menstrual products and adequate facilities, and need some documentation for question 3 and 2 to see the gap in terms of access to menstrual products and adequate facilities to manage menstrual hygiene. So the result is shared. You can see it again in the discussion normally. So over to you, Crystal.
We can go straight into discussion number 2. Discussion number 2 is going to be led by Martha, who will be moderating. I do ask that panelists please try to keep your responses to time. We're already over time and we know that you have so much to share. We would love for there to be a few minutes left for question and answer from the audience. Over to you, Martha. Are you ready? And panelists for discussion 2, please turn on your videos.
Thank you, Crystal. My name is Mata Mugabe. I work with Together Alive Health Initiative. Together Alive Initiative provides quality services and information to young people, particularly adults and girls and young women. So we're going to dive right into the second discussion. My panelists are Tendai, Nyarai, and Martina. Sorry if I pronounce your name badly. Do we have Martina on the call?
Yes.
Tendai on the call?
Yes, I'm here.
Then Nyarai. I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation.
Yes, that's fine. I'm here. Kindly allow me to switch on my video.
So let's dive right into the discussion. Each panelist has 2 minutes to answer the question. So my first question goes to Tendai. Many negative social norms surround menstruation, including beliefs about the beginning of menstruation and marriage. What actions can be taken by stakeholders to challenge these norms and eliminate child marriage?
Hi, Martha. Thank you so much, everyone. My name is Tendai Kunyelesa. I'm the GPE youth leader. So I think one key action that can be taken by stakeholders to engage with the community leaders and traditional leaders such as chiefs and councillors, because I think these leaders have a lot of influence on the behavior, and they can also play a powerful role in changing the social norms that are especially in Zimbabwe. So it is very critical that we should get their support so that we will be able to change the social norms. For example, last week, I was facilitating a gender-based violence training in my community. So I had to engage with the district coordinators, with the councillors and the chiefs so that I can get them the access to the community leader, to the community members, because if I didn't get their approval, it means I was not able to engage with the communities. So I think it is very, very critical that we engage these people as much as possible, because they are the ones who have power to change all the social norms that we have in our communities. And also they are the ones who can help to mobilize the young women and also the young people in our communities. Yeah, so I think with these critical stakeholders, we can be able to eliminate child marriages and also social norms in our communities. Thank you. Over to you, Martha.
Thank you, Tendai. My next question goes to Nyarai. Can you please speak more to how stakeholders can challenge these norms towards eliminating child marriage?
Greetings to all panelists, partners, and guests connected. Thank you so much for this opportunity to participate and raise awareness on girls' education during this webinar. Thank you, Martha, for that question. It is critical that we acknowledge that issues around SRH, amongst many others, largely remain sacred cows within our culture and tradition. And thus therein lies the basis of the many negative social norms. Hence, when we discuss strategies of how stakeholders can challenge these norms, we must address and demystify how the various stakeholders perceive norms. This is a call to advocacy, education, and raising awareness in order to shift stakeholder mindsets and attitudes. When stakeholders become aware, they're able to take their place in joining the necessary disruptions that will disable the prevailing status quo, because indeed stakeholders at various levels play a pivotal role. I must highlight, Martha,
that stakeholders in their diversities from individual household level, parents, aunts, uncles, and wider family, teachers, educators, church leaders, chiefs, and headmen. Everyone has a role to play in ensuring that the girl child has access to equitable and quality education. They also play a key role in eliminating child marriages. From where I come from in Zimbabwe, traditionally, menstruation discussions are made by women, but the decision makers are largely male. A natural biological process which should dignify women and girls has become a subject of shame that is rarely discussed. This silence is largely connected to the several myths and stigmatization surrounding menstruation. Despite the advance in globalization, several cultures around the world still vilify menstruation and see menstruating women and girls as dirty and impure. Today, I would like to focus on our community leaders, who I believe are the custodians of our traditions. It is therefore important to demystify this by including them in menstruation discussions. This way, they will get to know and appreciate that when a girl child starts to menstruate, it does not mean they are old enough for marriage, but deserve a chance to grow, mature, and have their best shot in life. It is also important to include religious groups and politicians in the child marriage discussion. Involvement of politicians allows us to get the political will and open doors for government support towards raising awareness on girl child education and its importance. Mainstreaming child protection issues in education and organizations is another key enabler for stakeholders to challenge social norms and contribute towards eliminating child marriages. Thank you so much, Martha, and back to you.
Thank you so much, Narai. I agree with you. It takes a community to raise a child in the African society. But if community leaders, parents, and everyone in the community vote on board and give an information, it will create a safe environment for young girls to menstruate. Yeah, so Martina, could you also share your perspective on the same? Martina?
I'm not.
Yeah, hi.
Okay, great.
Sorry, I had some distractions from coming in. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from every corner. I'm Martina Ebri, joining from African Girls Empowerment Network, Girls Not Bright, and I'm so excited to be part of the speakers for this webinar today. And the issue of menstruation, as we see, is really a critical one and that needs to be addressed. So it's really, really nice. Okay, so in some communities, just like our co-panelists have spoken well, and then here in Nigeria, in some communities in Nigeria, women and girls are considered impure, just like they've said, they are filthy, and then they went further as far as saying they are caused during this period of menstruation. Now, and at the process, a lot of women and girls have been forbidden from cooking or preparing meals, participating in social events, working in the fields, and going to their various religious places. Menstruation, in our word, is more of has been like a taboo. Yes, in Nigeria, it has been like a taboo in many communities, and then that has been practiced because it has been like a belief, more of a belief, and that is why it's extended. This has been extended even to homes, and then even what we practice at homes. Now, I'll take, for instance, while we're in the field, interacting with some of those women as we're educating them on menstruation and girls, we came to learn that a woman doesn't cook for the husband once she's menstruating. Why? Because the belief, the blood is dangerous, and then makes men unpowerful. Like it makes them lose strength. So if your husband, if you're menstruating at that period, you can cook for your husband. So you can imagine such practice that has been going on. Now, let's take we'll come down to the church settings. Now, there have been some doctrines that doesn't permit women menstruating and going to church, especially even going to the altars. You know, in the church, we have some altars. And then because of this doctrine and belief, a lot of women are restricted from going to the altars. You can't really go to the altar. If you were coming to the church, maybe you might be asked to stay at the entrance of the church, not going into, you feel isolated. They are isolated from the midst of others. Even at homes, for the cases of girls, a lot of girls have been kept away from their siblings and all, just because they are menstruating, and they might be even be locked in because of that, until maybe the period of 1 week. You know, some girls' menstruation lasts for a week, 5 to 4 and 3 days. So while we came to learn that this beliefs is because they like the church doctrine, as I was talking earlier, is something that they have read. They said it is quoted that in the scriptures in the Bible, as they say, is a regular flow of blood of women makes them impure, and then they shouldn't they shouldn't be touching anything, because since they're seen unclean. And then at this period, once you're stepping into the church, it makes you, whatever you were sitting on, maybe the chair, coming into the premises of the church, you are dirtying the church. So definitely a lot of them have been restricted from having access to this to the church because of that, and which is very, very bad. Menstruation has been regarded as a severe, and then most emphasized gravity, that it's more of a sin. Yeah, so it's more of a sin. That is why it can be changed. That is why we believe coming on to discuss together, working together, coming up with this is going to help us bring a change to those traditions, because there is nothing without change. So and now there's also what's they see it to be like in a spiritual aspect, the belief that menstruation is accompanies evil spirits. Yes, for women. So a woman menstruating has an evil spirit following her wherever she goes, and then this extends beyond. And then over the years, there have been several interventions to see how they can bring an end to this. And then connecting the here, as we discussed, I believe is going to bring changes to this. So this here.
Thank you so much for your response. What I got from your response was that we need to do more of community sensitization, so that we let the cultural leaders, religious leaders know that menstruation is not a curse, it's not a taboo, it's something that happens to a woman naturally. It's a natural factor of life. So we're going to go to the next panelists. Please note that you have only 2 minutes. We have to keep time. Schools are a critical space to address the discriminatory gender norms that enable gender inequality to persist. How can we work with schools and communities to address issues of menstruation and child marriage? Can we have Nyarai answer that first?
Thank you so much, Martha, for the question. It is evident that most women and girls face several challenges during menstruation, such as inability to afford sanitary pads, lack of sanitation and hand washing facilities in schools, stigmatization from their male peers, and discrimination due to certain taboos and myths associated with menstruation. These challenges are dream killers for most of these girls who are not well empowered to surmount the challenges they face during menstruation. Because schools are a critical hub to address issues of menstruation and child marriages, stakeholders can achieve this through 1, intentionally providing opportunities for girls to have access to education and remain in school. 2, providing sexual reproductive health education and information to both girls and boys so that we break the silence around this area. As High Life Foundation, we have a program which we're running in Zimbabwe together with Get Up Zimbabwe, which is a grassroots organization where we're doing sexual reproductive health training in schools and in universities. In the past year, we have reached 5,000 students through awareness programs and referral programs for extended support. This has enabled learners to be aware of the biological makeup of their bodies and how they can take care of themselves. 3, through policy dialogue, stakeholders can also contribute to advocating for government funding for rural schools in low to medium income countries so that they are provided sanitary wear or to produce their own reusable sanitary pads. As High Life Foundation, we're running a program in Zimbabwe where we're teaching boys and girls to make low-cost and environmentally friendly reusable pads. This is because we've realized that when girls have access to sanitary wear, this reduces their chances of missing schools. If we look at the community angle of things, empowering communities through community-led programs and community fairs to promote dialogue around menstruation and awareness against child marriages can assist. Engaging communities and religious leaders against the dangers associated with child marriages will greatly assist, because a girl child who is 9 years old, if they fall pregnant, they're faced with complications when giving birth. And to the communities, we can explain expected jail term for a perpetrator. In order to close the 132-year gap as highlighted by the World Economic Forum in 2022, as High Life Foundation, we've been intentional in working with grassroots organizations and community leaders who are embedded in those communities facing these challenges. We believe they understand these challenges and own the problems they want to solve. We therefore co-create solutions with the communities, as this is a critical component of systems change. This is because we'll be looking at the root causes, and here we'll be focusing on social and cultural norms as well as gender stereotypes. Thank you for having me, Martha. Back to you.
Thank you, Nyarai. We're going to hear from Martina and Tindai. How can we work with schools and communities to address issues around menstruation and child marriage? Can you please give your response first? Tindai and Martina, any of you can go first.
Okay, thank you so much, Martha. So I believe school is a very powerful place for addressing this issue of menstruation and child marriages. Why? Because in my country, it is a taboo to speak about menstruation. So we find out that no parent is very open to discuss these menstrual issues with their daughters. They can't even orient them on the menstrual hygiene and stuff. So I believe school can come in to help us maybe discuss these conversations with their students. And also I think stakeholders should come together and try to make sure that menstrual hygiene management is sort of included in their curriculums, where it becomes mandatory to discuss these issues at a school environment, because it's obvious that these issues are not being discussed at home. So it will be easier for students and teachers to have this discussion, and also the teachers can find out a way to discuss this with the parents or the guidance. Yeah, so it is very important that the schools get very much support from the stakeholders to try and engage parents, and also include this menstrual health management in their curriculums.
Thank you so much, Sindai.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Martina, can we please have your perspective?
All right, thank you so much, Mata. And you know, the panelists have all made justice to that. And indeed, yes, I would say education is a key, a key to delaying marriage. So giving girls more choices and opportunities to and enabling them to develop their full potentials is one of the it's going to be really helpful. Okay, so in our responses over here in Nigeria to addressing the issues of child marriage and ending the stigma surrounding menstruation for girls in school, we launched a campaign tag End Stigma period for this year. And so we have been, this has been ongoing since Monday, and then it's going to be extended as we go on, because this is issues that we need to address. And then to addressing a lot of other issues concerning child marriage, we had been, just last month, we rounded up an implementation of a gender transformative approach on ending child marriage through it was tagged building girls agency and skills to end child marriage in southern Nigeria. And then this has been developed. We've also developed notable initiatives over here by Age Network to also to help girls meet up to this, and then to meet up to address the issues and problems, the critical issues of sexual and reproductive health, menstrual health, hygiene, and then to eradicate period stigma and poverty. And then this has been tackled through these initiatives, hashtag Let Girls Lead, Bella by Choice, STEM Girls Initiative, and the Age Cares. Other initiatives has been programs that we've been using to addressing these challenges drastically, and then to reduce vulnerability to child marriage, girls' gender vulnerability to school dropout, teenage pregnancy, and other barriers that hinders their education. And then I believe having other working together to working with the school authorities, just like Ella mentioned, we have been working with them. And then just last year, we launched a campaign, 10,000 women carry Bella by choice campaign. And then it was tagged to reducing adolescent, to promoting girls, to giving girls access to right information that are non-judgmental to their and then having all the all the contraceptives, modern contraceptives, and then other right information to keep them going, and then to keep them in school. So that has been what we've done so far to that. And then the campaigns, these initiatives are still been ongoing.
Thank you so much, Martina. Thank you so much, my panelists. We had a really insightful discussion. So we're going to go into Q&A. The Q&A is open to the audience. You can ask questions to the panelists. You can have specific questions to the panelists, or you can just type in any question. They will be replied to. So let's do this in just a minute. You can use the Q&A icon on the Zoom.
Yes, thank you, Martha. So to the audience, please type in your questions. Use the Q&A icon on your screen. We'll give you a few minutes to do that. Thank you to our panelists. You shared so much insight. You know, we said this is an intergenerational dialogue, but it's also global. We have panelists from Cambodia, Uganda, Zimbabwe, just to show you that this issue, menstrual hygiene, it cuts across the globe. Going back to our polls, one of the answers to one of the questions says that 500 million women and girls lack menstrual hygiene management. So that means adequate menstrual products, inadequate facilities as well. They're lacking in all of this. So knowing that there's 500 million women and girls lacking in this, with the number of people we have in the world, I actually Googled it, and we have about, let's say, I think it's 500, oh wait, no, it's 7 billion people in the world as of 2021. So to have 500 million women not having adequate menstrual management, that's an issue. So yeah, opening the floor for questions. Pop in your questions, and our panelists are happy to share their knowledge on the field, their knowledge about the subject, through their work, their experience as well, from their countries, their regions in the world.
Hello, the questions is not enabled. You cannot send any questions. You getting me?
Oh, we wanted you to ask a question.
By sending a link, you cannot send you a question in the chat. No one.
Do you see the Q&A?
Yes, I've seen anyone send a question. You cannot do it. So
really? Okay, do you want to ask your question since you're already speaking? Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to see how we could do this. Like we are based in Karamoja and Teso in Uganda, and I wanted to see how we could engage with the youth. So we're requesting for contact so I could reach you out so that we give center parts for girls living in Uganda, the eastern part of Uganda called Teso and Karamoja. If you're seeing my email, please share with me.
Thank you, Andrew.
Everyone else is not sending you questions, so.
No, there are more questions coming in. We're just waiting to gather them. And your question was specific to Uganda, so we do have a panelist from Uganda who can answer that. Martha and Rachel, can you each take one question from the question section? Are you able to see it?
Yes.
Sure, just take one question.
From Mundaya. It's from Mundaya. I can't pronounce the other name. How are boys being engaged in this subject, specifically boys at school? In Africa, boys and men are far removed from girls' document issues. What are we doing to change this narrative? Does any of the panelists want to take this on? We can have Nyarai take this on.
Thank you so much, Martha, for the question. I'll speak to what we are doing in Zimbabwe. I'm from High Life Foundation in Zimbabwe, and I had just initially highlighted that we're working with the grassroots organization because we believe the solutions will come from the communities where the challenges are. And how we are working with boys is through our sexual reproductive health training in schools and universities, where we're engaging them in SRH awareness, where they can also participate in the development and making of sanitary pads, reusable sanitary pads. So because they're involved in the dialogue and in the training and in the development of these sanitary pads, it therefore means that they're now part of the conversation and the discussions taking place. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We can have Rachel read out the next question.
I think Bouquet had her hand up to answer this question, I think.
Yes. Yes, I am. So I can share a bit of contact in Cambodia as well. I think here it's not that there is a gender equality that we have to address, but then at the same time, I think the school a bit overlooked where boys also have wet dream and they also need to learn about it. But because of the, in here in Cambodia, the menstruation is not highlighted as a textbook or separately, but it's included in biology textbook. And when the chapter comes, the female teacher will talk about the menstruation in probably the shy way, and the boy might, like giggling and laughing. But then I think these will also kind of implicate or kind of show that boy also need to learn. And if the girl and the boy can learn one menstruation period, and we can ask the boy, if the girl have a period, so what for boy? And it should be wet dream. And if both of the gender of the sex, or would say genders, they all learn about their body, their natural body, it would bring them to, I think, open up more and more critical and more engaging in the classroom, and also outside the classroom, where they get respect to their peers. And I believe that it also help with the gender equality as well.
Thank you so much. We have a few comments.
Okay, so we have a question for Nahaya. How do we catalyze reduction of the 117 years gender gap? Nahaya, that question is for you. Did you get me?
Yes, I did. Thank you so much. I believe we can do this by empowering our communities through community-led programs and community fairs to promote dialogue around menstruation and awareness against child marriages, which would definitely help us to reduce that gender gap. And engaging our communities and religious leaders against the dangers associated with child marriages. This would give girls a chance to education and therefore help us to reach that gender gap. And ultimately, I will continue saying the same thing. We need to work with the communities. They have the solutions to the challenges.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Narai. So we have a few comments with the link is we have the webinar, the linkages are clear. So now let's step up. Contain this funding. Once we are committed, materials can be found. Here to join easily. There is a link where you can join this campaign easily. Then Tendai says there is great need for schools to give students and people the chance to visit toilets for up to a long time so that they can change their sanitary pads. They should do so freely without fear of being asked why they took so long to come back. Very true. We have a question from an anonymous attendee. How best do we get to boost the confidence of girls to talk about menstrual hygiene openly? Cultural practices are our biggest challenges and a lot of demystifying needs to be done. How best do we integrate our culture with modern practices in ensuring that we bust a lot of taboos and myths? We can have one of the panelists take on this. We can have voice. What I don't know if I pronounced that well, or any of the panelists that wishes to take it on.
Yes, you call my name right. No worries at all. Sorry. So I can take the questions with the how we can boost the confidence of the girl to talk about menstrual hygiene openly. Is that correct? Yes. That's I would say it's really challenging, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. And I believe girls, they are confident and they are smart and they quite open, I have to say. But then with saying environment or the space or no space for them to show those confident or just to, yeah, because in Cambodia culturally girls should not be that open and confident. They should be more like preserved. They should be more like a folding skirt in the closet. So if we can show them that they can be themselves, if we starting the conversation by talking about things that people not talk about, they would open to talk to us. And it's not that I'm just saying, but I have experienced it in public schools throughout the years that I'm working with them. And the moment that I open to talk to them about menstruation, they are paying attention. The moment that I asking them about, their just daily life, what they're doing, whether they keep hygiene and how can they manage it and everything, they always answer me. And to the point, probably say 10 minutes, they would tell me something that might go wrong with them or they feel wrong with their body. And from girls to another girls, that's what I experienced. They actually confident, and the thing is the space, whether they have the space for them to show, to express themselves. And we all can be the one who open that conversation, be the one who can open that space. And even in family, if the mother would start a conversation, probably talking to them gently for 5 minutes to 10 minutes, I'm sure that they will tell you everything about them. It's just a bit of pressure, culture, and space that they needed to speak up. That's my thought. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we have, okay, Martina, you can give your perspective. I see your hand up.
We'll let this be the last answer. So
okay, thank you.
We wanted to leave time for reflections also. So Martina, you can share your answer as well.
Crystal, I didn't get you. What did you say?
No, you said Martina should answer the question. So I was saying that that would be the final answer so that we can move on to some reflection.
Martina, you can go on to answer the question.
All right, thank you. And just a contribution to what the earlier said, as regards building the girls' confidence, I would say giving opportunities for the girls to, that is why I will talk about a program that we developed, one of the initiatives, the Let Girls Lead. There we talk about girls' leadership, and then they're able to exercise their bodily rights and autonomies, and then they can, irrespective of what people say about them, because their confidence have been built, they feel this is not something I should consider. And then looking at the area of them being in school and during menstruation, we educating them, we educated the girls on how they can keep them, they can self-manage their menstrual hygiene well, without even others knowing or having some kind of body odors and all, because definitely most of these issues that we see about them, girls not being able to come to school, they have to stay back because they're menstruating, is because they lack proper education of menstruating, how to manage their good health hygiene. And then after the enlightenment, on our safe spaces, we created safe spaces where they have one-on-one interactions with their mentees in the schools. We safe spaces in each school, and then the mentor will be able to enlighten them on this and this, and then getting also the boys involved. So boys have also been enlightened over here in Nigeria that menstruation is not a bad thing, and they've seen it that it's something that is natural. So I think that involvement alone has built the confidence of these girls and can keep them going on this, and they can boldly pronounce that, yes, I am a woman, I am menstruating, yes, I am a woman, this is what makes me one. Yeah.
Thank you, Martina. Sorry to cut you short. You actually said a lot. Thank you very much. So we have another question, which is going to be our last question because we are almost out of time. So the question is from Albert, and he said, and the question is, how best can we involve the communities, primarily the parents and guardians, in the discussion on SRH, ARUDA, etc., reproductive and rights? So, Mercy, can you answer this question for us if you're still with us? Mercy, are you with us? Okay, Mercy.
I can say something. As regards sexual reproductive health, hope you can hear me.
Yes, Martina, go on, we can hear you.
Okay, in the area of sexual and reproductive health, we would say we've designed the Belle by Choice initiative. That program is basically for girls, advancing the bodily rights and autonomy of girls to sexual reproductive health. And then we have talk shows, live chats, where we can connect experts online on discussions on sexual reproductive health, and a lot of other things. And then there the experts educate and enlighten women, and then they are able to pass the information across. So also involving leaders, we've been going on community sensitizations, one-on-one interactions, counseling, and then talking to the leaders about the need to respect the sexual and reproductive health and rights of those women, and that it is of great importance to help them to help them as women to stand out and then be able to be healthy. And then we also, on the sexual reproductive health, we carry out what is called the distribution of, last mile distribution of modern contraception, family planning commodities, and then information, sexual reproductive health information, and non-judgmental services. Yeah.
Thank you so much for answering that. That's a lot of wonderful work that you guys have been doing in the community. Tendai did add some of her answers to the questions in the chat, so I urge the audience to also take a look at the chat. She mentioned how it's very important to get men and boys involved, and the reasons why that's important. So at this point, we just want to have a final reflection from our moderators who did a wonderful job moderating this rich discussion. We would like you to share some reflections and key takeaways from the discussion. So Martha and Rachel, please go ahead.
So much, Crystal. Thank you so much, our panelists for the discussion. So from my side, I would like to say we need to do a lot of community sensitization on menstrual health and hygiene. We need to let people in the community know that menstruation is not a curse, it's not a taboo. It is something that someone experiences. We need to empower these girls so that they know that they have to stand up for themselves. If you tell me I'm possessed or something because I'm menstruating, I need to stand up here and tell you, no, this is what I'm going through. Your wife is going to go through it. Your child is going to go through it. So we need to make menstruation normal part of life. We need to make it something that society needs to embrace. Thank you so much from my side. Thank you so much for having me.
You, Rachel.
Thank you very much. It was really, really an interesting section and eye-opening. And I believe everyone just joining us, or everyone that's joined us from the beginning, actually got something they can implement in the different organizations. So from the first conversation, how can we make menstruation a normal fact of life by 2030? There has to be a lot of stakeholders engagement. We can use storytelling, short films to normalize menstruation. Supporting grassroots organizations, we all can't go to the grassroots. We can't all go to rural communities. We all work in cities. What about those that are in rural communities? There's a need for us to support them with funding to implement this project in their communities, educating girls, educating boys, educating men and boys in their different communities, and also improving school infrastructure and safe spaces for girls to manage their period effectively, and breaking the stigma on onset of menstruation that a girl beginning her period does not mean that, oh, she's ripe for marriage. We need to break that stigma and also break the stigma that menstruation is a disease, it's not a mess. And also train girls on how to make usable sanitary pads for economic stability and empowerment. And also there's a very key need for us to keep girls in school. Imagine having 1 in 10 girls missing school every year. Just imagine what it's going to make to our economic stability, especially in Africa. So there's need for us to continue to advocate to the government for adequate safe spaces and gender-friendly toilets for girls. We need to advocate for menstrual health-friendly policies. As CSOs, as young people, as advocates, we need to keep advocating for government. Also try to provide sanitary materials for girls in school and water and sanitation for girls in schools. As in schools, when we go to schools to talk to school authorities, there's also a need for us to talk to them to provide gender-friendly toilet for these girls in school, for boys, for girls, for teachers, and also provide sanitary pad banks in schools where girls can get sanitary pads in case of emergency. Thank you very much. That's all from my end.
Thank you both so much. My apologies to anyone in the audience that still had questions that were not answered. We'll be happy to take them some other time. And yes, finding a way to get in contact with us or the panelists, we're happy to facilitate as well. But I just wanted to thank the audience for attending this Menstrual Hygiene Day event. I would like to thank our partners, Girls Not Brides, Higher Life Foundation, Girls Opportunity Alliance, and our youth leaders who did a wonderful job sharing their experiences. This has been a wonderful conversation, and we do hope that it demystifies what everyone thinks about menstrual hygiene, and so that it won't cause an interruption for girls to learn, so that it won't continue to cause things like early child marriage to happen to so many girls. So it's been a wonderful discussion. Thank you for joining. I would like to thank my colleagues who have been here helping us to man this Zoom. Zoom is very interesting, but they did a wonderful job. So I just want to also say a wonderful thanks to everyone who was involved. Thank you all, and yes, we'll hopefully be in contact at the next event and through our work. Bye for now.